In the heart of a forgotten village stood the remnants of the Holloway estate, a mansion shrouded in dark tales and unsolved mysteries. Locals whispered of its eerie past, how the once majestic halls were now a cradle for whispers that echoed with the agony of bygone eras. The story I am about to unfold is drawn from the depths of its forsaken walls, a narrative that has kept the bravest souls awake into the night, pondering the fine line between reality and the unfathomable. The Holloway estate was last inhabited by the esteemed yet eccentric author Jonathan Holloway, known for his macabre literature that blurred the boundaries of fiction and reality. His final work, Whispers of the Ancients, was rumored to be inspired by events that transpired within the very walls of his ancestral home. The manuscript, however, was never found, leading to speculations that the horrifying tales it contained might have leaped off the pages into the realm of the living. Our tale begins on a rain-soaked evening when a curious young writer, Evelyn, seeking inspiration for her next horror novel, stumbled upon the lore of the Holloway estate. Fascinated by the mysterious disappearance of Jonathan and the legends surrounding his final, unpublished work, she decided to venture into the heart of the estate, hoping to uncover the truth that lay buried within its dilapidated structure. As Evelyn crossed the threshold, the air grew dense, a silent whisper urging her to turn back. Yet her resolve pushed her forward, guided by the dim light of her lantern. She navigated through the labyrinthine corridors, each step echoing through the desolate halls, as if awakening the house from a deep, restless slumber. In the heart of the mansion, she discovered Jonathan's study, untouched by time. The room was littered with scattered notes, ancient tomes, and a typewriter, its keys still stained with ink. Among the chaos, a single, unfinished letter caught her eye, its words seeming to bleed into the paper. Dear reader, if these words find you, know that what I have unleashed cannot be contained within the confines of fiction. My research into the occult has revealed truths too terrifying to comprehend. And I fear I have awakened something that was meant to remain hidden. The letter ended abruptly, its final words smudged as if hurriedly abandoned. A cold breeze swept through the room, and the faint sound of a melody began to resonate from the depths of the estate. Its source unknown, compelled by an unseen force, Evelyn followed the haunting tune through winding hallways, down creaking staircases, and into the bowels of the mansion. There, in the shadow of the estate's forgotten chapel, she found an ancient organ, its keys moving with ghostly precision, playing the melody that had lured her deeper into the abyss. As the final notes echoed into silence, the ground beneath her trembled, revealing a hidden passage veiled in darkness. Evelyn stood at the precipice of the unknown, the hollow void beckoning her to unveil the secrets it held. With trepidation, she stepped forward, the passage enveloping her in an oppressive darkness that seemed to consume all light and hope. And there, in the suffocating embrace of the abyss, the story halts, leaving Evelyn's fate and the true nature of the Holloway estate's horrors shrouded in mystery. The whispers of the ancients, the chilling melody unearthly presence that lingered within the walls remain a puzzle. Pieces scattered in the shadows, waiting for a brave soul to venture into the darkness and continue the tale. So, dear reader, as you find yourself lying awake, pondering the thin veil between our world and the one that lies just beyond our comprehension, remember the story of the Holloway Estate. For some tales are not meant to be concluded, but to linger in the corners of our minds, a haunting reminder of the unknown that awaits in the silence of the night. As Evelyn's footsteps echoed into the abyss, the air around her grew colder, the oppressive darkness seeming to pulsate with a life of its own. With each step, the boundaries between the tangible and the unseen blurred, whispering secrets long buried in the heart of the Holloway Estate. The hidden passage twisted and turned, leading her deeper into the bowels of the earth, away from the remnants of the world she knew. Flickering shadows danced across the walls, their forms shifting and contorting into grotesque silhouettes that seemed to watch her every move with unseen eyes. After what felt like an eternity, Evelyn emerged into a vast underground chamber, its ceiling lost in an impenetrable darkness. At the center stood an ancient altar, bathed in an otherworldly glow that seemed to emanate from within the stone itself. Arrayed around the altar were statues, each carved with painstaking detail to depict figures that defied human comprehension, their faces twisted in eternal screams of agony and ecstasy. Evelyn's gaze was drawn to the altar, where an open tome rested, its pages fluttering as if caught in a silent storm. The words written upon the ancient parchment glowed with a sinister light, beckoning her to read. As she approached, a voice, soft and melodic, yet filled with a sorrow that echoed through the ages, whispered in her ear, its origin unseen. Seeker of truths, be wary, for knowledge comes at a price. What lies within these pages is the key to the Holloway curse, a power that transcends the bounds of this earthly realm. But beware, for once the seal is broken, there is no turning back. Evelyn's hand trembled as she reached out to the tome, her mind a whirlwind of fear and fascination. The whispers grew louder, a chorus of voices that seemed to rise from the very depths of the chamber, urging her to read, to understand, to unleash the truths hidden within. As her fingers brushed against the ancient pages, a sudden gust of wind erupted from the tome, extinguishing her lantern and plunging the chamber into darkness. The ground beneath her shuddered, and a deep rumbling filled the air, as if the very earth was crying out in torment. In the pitch-black darkness, Evelyn could feel something stirring, an ancient presence awakening from its slumber. The air grew thick with anticipation, and the whispers coalesced into a tangible force that seemed to envelop her, pulling her towards an unknown destiny. And there, in the heart of darkness, where past and present merge and the veil between worlds grows thin, our story pauses once more. Evelyn's fate and the secrets of the Holloway Estate remain shrouded in shadow, a tale of horror and intrigue that lingers, waiting for the moment to continue its twisted journey into the abyss. So, as the night deepens and the boundaries of reality begin to fray, remember the tale of Evelyn and the Holloway estate, a story that dwells in the realm of the unfinished, where every shadow hides a secret, and every whisper is a call into the unknown. In the suffocating embrace of darkness, Evelyn's heart raced as the ground beneath her ceased its turmoil. The eerie silence that followed was more terrifying than the cacophony of whispers and rumblings that had just filled the air. She stood frozen, her senses heightened to every slight movement, every subtle shift in the air around her. Suddenly, a faint light appeared in the distance, its pale luminescence cutting through the darkness like a beacon. Drawn to it as if by some primordial instinct, Evelyn moved forward, her steps cautious yet determined. The light grew brighter, revealing itself to be emanating from an intricately carved lantern, suspended in midair by an unseen force. As she approached, the lantern began to sway gently, casting moving shadows that danced across the ancient walls, revealing cryptic symbols that seemed to shift and change before her eyes. The air around the lantern pulsed with energy, a palpable force that seemed to beckon her closer. Evelyn reached out, her hand hovering inches from the lantern's warm glow. The moment her fingertips brushed against the metal, a vision flashed before her eyes, a vision of the Holloway estate in its heyday, alive with opulence and laughter, yet underpinned by a palpable sense of dread. In the vision, Jonathan Holloway stood in the very chamber Evelyn now occupied, his face alight with a mix of fear and exhilaration. He was not alone. Gathered around him were figures cloaked in shadow, their features obscured as they engaged in a ritual that seemed to blur the lines between reality and something far more sinister. The vision fractured, splintering into fragments of memories, whispers of the past that swirled around Evelyn, enveloping her in the estate's dark history. She saw the estate through the ages, its joy and its sorrow, its births and its deaths, all overshadowed by the enigmatic figure of Jonathan Holloway and his obsessive quest for knowledge beyond the mortal realm. Just as suddenly as it had appeared, the vision dissipated, leaving Evelyn in the dim glow of the lantern. Once more, the chamber felt different now, as if the vision had altered something fundamental in the air, a change imperceptible to the eye, but felt deep within the soul. In the silence that followed, a new sound emerged, a soft, rhythmic tapping, like the beat of a heart, coming from a shadowed alcove in the chamber. Drawn by an inexplicable urge, Evelyn moved towards the sound, each step resonating with the tapping until they were in perfect synchrony. As she neared the alcove, the tapping grew louder, more insistent, and from the shadows emerged a figure, its form obscured by the dim light. The figure held something in its hand, an object that seemed to pulse with the same rhythm as the tapping, a rhythm that echoed the very beat of Evelyn's heart. The figure stepped forward, its features slowly coming into focus, and Evelyn realized with a shock that she was staring into a face that bore an uncanny resemblance to her own, yet twisted by time and shadow into something otherworldly. The figure extended its hand, offering the pulsating object to Evelyn. As their hands touched, a surge of energy coursed through her, a connection that bound her to the figure, to the estate, and to the untold horrors that lay waiting in the shadows. And there, on the precipice of revelation and ruin, our story once again draws to a halt, leaving the mysteries of the Holloway estate and its inhabitants suspended in the echo of a heartbeat. A tale of terror and intrigue that waits in the shadows, its next chapter yet to be written. The connection between Evelyn and the shadowy figure, so eerily similar to her own visage, yet imbued with an otherworldly essence, seemed to transcend time itself. The object in the figure's hand, now clearly visible, was a small, intricately carved box, pulsating with a soft, ominous light. The rhythm of its pulse matched the tapping sound that had drawn Evelyn deeper into the chamber, a sound that now resonated with her very core. Compelled by an unseen force, Evelyn accepted the box, her fingers trembling as they made contact with its ancient surface. The moment her skin brushed against the wood, a flood of unbidden emotions washed over her: fear, sorrow, and a deep, unrelenting longing for something she could not comprehend. The figure, its purpose fulfilled, began to fade into the shadows from whence it came, its final gaze upon Evelyn one of profound sadness and warning. As it disappeared, the chamber seemed to breathe a sigh, the air shifting as if a great weight had been lifted, yet replaced with a palpable tension that hung heavy in the silence. Evelyn, now alone with the box in hand, felt an overwhelming urge to open it, to uncover the secrets it held. Yet, something within her screamed to resist, to flee from the darkness and the unknown fate that awaited her. The conflict raged within her, a battle between curiosity and survival. As she contemplated her next move, the ground beneath her began to rumble once more, a low, menacing growl that seemed to emanate from the very depths of the earth. The chamber walls trembled, the ancient symbols carved into their surface glowing with a fierce red light, casting the room in a blood-hued illumination. From the corners of the room, shadows began to creep towards her, their forms shifting and twisting into nightmarish figures that whispered promises of power and threats of damnation. The pulsating light from the box grew brighter, its rhythm quickening as if in response to the encroaching darkness. Evelyn, caught in the eye of the storm, realized that the box was not merely an object, but a key that could either unlock the mysteries of the Holloway estate or unleash horrors beyond her wildest nightmares. The whispers grew louder, urging her to make a choice, to decide her fate and the fate of the secrets buried within these ancient walls. As she stood on the brink of the unknown, the box in her hands now a beacon in the darkness, the story once again draws to a close, leaving Evelyn at the crossroads of destiny, where the path ahead is shrouded in shadow, and the echoes of the past whisper from the darkness, their voices a harbinger of what is yet to come. Cacophony of whispers and the relentless pulsation of the box in Evelyn's grasp reached a fever pitch, creating a symphony of dread that resonated through the very foundation of the Holloway estate. The shifting shadows, now almost tangible in their malevolence, pressed closer, their forms intermittently revealing glimpses of tormented faces and twisted limbs, each bearing silent testimony to the estate's dark history. Evelyn, with the box's light as her only shield against the encroaching darkness, felt an inexplicable connection to the estate's twisted legacy, as if her own fate was inextricably linked with the ancient mysteries it harbored. The box, once an object of curiosity, now felt like a part of her, its pulsations echoing her heartbeat, its light reflecting the turmoil within her soul. With the shadows mere inches away, a sudden clarity pierced Evelyn's fear. She understood that the box was not merely a key, but a nexus of power, a focal point for the estate's haunted past, and, perhaps, a beacon for its restless spirits. The realization dawned on her that opening the box might not only reveal the estate's secrets, but also serve as a catalyst for either salvation or damnation. As she contemplated this daunting choice, the ground beneath her shuddered violently, sending a network of fissures across the chamber floor. From these cracks, a blinding light began to seep through, casting the shadows back and bathing the room in a radiance that felt both sanctifying and ominous. Evelyn, now standing at the precipice of an unseen threshold, felt the box's pulsations synchronize with the light emanating from the ground, creating a harmony that seemed to beckon her towards a destiny yet unseen. The voices, once threatening, now sang in a chorus that felt both welcoming and warning, a dual invitation to uncover the truth and a reminder of the potential consequences. With the chamber illuminated by this otherworldly light and the box firmly in her grip, Evelyn faced the ultimate decision: to open the box and embrace the fate it offered, or to retreat from the brink, leaving the mysteries of the Holloway estate and her own connection to them unexplored. As she weighed her decision, the chamber's atmosphere thickened with anticipation, the very air holding its breath, as if the outcome of her choice held the key to unraveling the temporal tapestry of the estate. The story, rich with layers of fear, mystery, and the unquenchable human thirst for knowledge, pauses once more, leaving Evelyn at the crossroads of light and shadow. Her next action poised to tip the scales in a tale that continues to weave its enigmatic path through the shrouded corridors of the Holloway estate. With the chamber now awash in the unearthly light, Evelyn's senses were heightened to an almost supernatural degree. The pulsating glow from the box and the luminous fissures on the floor seemed to be communicating, their lights intertwining in a silent, cryptic dialogue that only the estate itself could understand. The chorus of whispers had transformed into a harmonic resonance that vibrated through the stones of the Holloway estate, as if the very building was alive with anticipation of Evelyn's choice. As the light grew stronger, the shadows at the edges of the chamber began to recede, as though afraid of the revelations the light might bring. Yet, within this retreat, there was a sense of gathering, a preparation for something yet to come, as if the darkness itself was biding its time, waiting for the right moment to surge forward once again. Evelyn, standing at the center of this maelstrom of light and shadow, felt a profound connection to the estate's history. It was as if the Holloway estate itself was speaking to her through the box, offering her a glimpse into its soul. The box vibrated with a sense of urgency now, its rhythm quickening, urging her to take action. But with this urgency came a surge of doubt. Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that opening the box might unleash something that could not be contained. The estate had already shown its ability to transcend the ordinary bounds of time and space, to affect reality in ways she could barely comprehend. What then might be unleashed if she were to open this ancient artifact? The air in the chamber thickened, charged with the power of untold secrets and the weight of history. The light from the fissures began to pulse in sync with the box, creating a symphony of light that painted the ancient symbols on the walls in stark relief. Each one a testament to the Holloway family's deep involvement with the arcane. Evelyn realized that she was not merely a visitor to this place, but had become a part of its ongoing story, a pivotal figure upon whom the future of the Holloway estate might depend. The box in her hands was the key, but to what door? Salvation or damnation? As these thoughts raced through her mind, a new sound began to permeate the chamber. A low, rhythmic drumming that seemed to emanate from the very heart of the estate. It was a call to action, a heartbeat urging her to make her choice. With the estate's history bearing down upon her and the future uncertain, Evelyn stood at the threshold of discovery. The box's pulsing light in her hands, casting long shadows that danced upon the walls. The story of the Holloway estate, teetering on the brink of revelation, pauses once more, leaving us in a moment suspended between light and darkness, where the next chapter remains unwritten, waiting for the courage to turn the page. The rhythmic drumming that filled the chamber grew louder, more insistent, mirroring the tumultuous beat of Evelyn's own heart. It was as if the Holloway estate itself was alive, its pulse quickening with anticipation of the choice Evelyn was on the cusp of making. The light from the box and the fissures in the floor cast an otherworldly glow, creating an almost sacred space within the ancient chamber. A sanctum where the veils between worlds grew thin. Evelyn, enveloped in the light, felt an overwhelming sense of destiny. The box in her hands, once an enigma, now felt like a part of her, a missing piece that she was always meant to find. Its pulsing glow, in harmony with the estate's heartbeat, seemed to be guiding her towards a truth that had long been concealed within the walls of the Holloway estate. With each beat, the light intensified, illuminating the chamber with a clarity that revealed intricate details previously shrouded in shadow. The ancient symbols etched into the walls began to move, slowly at first, then with increasing speed. Their dance, a mesmerizing display that drew Evelyn's gaze and held it captive. As she watched, entranced, the symbols coalesced into a narrative, a visual story that depicted the Holloway estate's legacy, its construction, the lineage of its inhabitants, and the pivotal moments that had shaped its dark history. Among these images, one figure stood out. A woman, her features bearing an uncanny resemblance to Evelyn's, engaged in the same ritual she now found herself a part of. This revelation sent a shockwave through Evelyn. Was she merely retracing the steps of an ancestor, doomed to repeat a cycle that had been set in motion centuries ago? Or was her presence in the chamber a chance to alter the estate's course, to break free from the chains of its haunted past? The drumming reached a crescendo, its sound now almost overwhelming, as if urging her to act before it was too late. The light from the box pulsed in sync, its radiance now blinding, forcing Evelyn to shield her eyes. In that moment of sensory overload, Evelyn felt a shift in the air, a change in the energy that filled the chamber. It was as though a threshold had been crossed, a barrier between the known and the unknown that demanded a choice be made. With the history of the Holloway estate swirling around her and the fate of its legacy in her hands, Evelyn stood at the epicenter of a story that spanned generations. The choice before her was clear, yet fraught with uncertainty. To open the box and face whatever truths it might reveal, or to leave its secrets buried, maintaining the delicate balance between light and darkness that enveloped the estate. As the drumming faded to a whisper and the light from the box steadied, the chamber seemed to hold its breath, awaiting Evelyn's decision. The story of the Holloway estate, intertwined with the destinies of those who dared to uncover its secrets, pauses yet again, its next chapter hinging on a choice that could unravel the very fabric of its haunted narrative. In the charged silence that followed the crescendo, Evelyn's mind raced with the weight of her impending decision. The pulsing light from the box, now steady and constant, seemed to beckon her with an almost sentient urgency. The chamber, bathed in the ethereal glow of the intertwining lights, held the echoes of centuries, whispers of those who had once walked its halls, their fates forever entwined with the Holloway legacy. As she stood there, the box in hand, Evelyn realized that the estate's pulse had synchronized not only with the box, but also with her own heartbeat, creating a triad of rhythms that harmonized into a single, powerful cadence. It was as if the estate itself was communicating with her, its heartbeat a guide through the labyrinth of its past. The ancient symbols that danced upon the walls now seemed to orbit around her, their movement creating a vortex that drew her deeper into the narrative, woven into the fabric of the estate. Within this whirlwind of history, the image of the woman who resembled Evelyn became more pronounced, her actions mirroring Evelyn's own to an uncanny degree. Compelled by an unseen force, Evelyn reached out towards the symbols, her fingers tracing the air where they danced. As she did, the images began to slow, their frantic pace easing into a deliberate, measured procession that unveiled the story of the Holloway estate with newfound clarity. The woman in the images, her lineage now unmistakably linked to Evelyn's, was shown bestowing the box to the estate, a gift that was both a blessing and a curse. The box's origin, shrouded in mystery, was depicted as having come from a place beyond the confines of the known world, its power boundless and its purpose undefined. With each revelation, the light from the box grew stronger, illuminating not just the chamber, but also the depths of Evelyn's soul, revealing truths about herself and her connection to the Holloway estate that she had never dared to contemplate. As the last of the symbols settled into place, forming a narrative arc that spanned generations, the chamber fell silent, the vortex of images dissipating into the air. Evelyn, now armed with the knowledge of her ancestry and the true nature of the box, faced the ultimate choice: to open the vessel and embrace her destiny, whatever it may be, or to leave its secrets locked away, preserving the veil of mystery that had long shrouded the Holloway estate. With the history of the estate and her own lineage laid bare before her, Evelyn's decision loomed large, casting a shadow that stretched far beyond the confines of the chamber. The story of the Holloway estate, a tapestry of light and darkness, truth and mystery, hangs in the balance, awaiting the turn of a key that could unravel the threads of its long and storied past. The silence in the chamber became a tangible entity, heavy with the weight of unmade decisions and untold secrets. The light from the box cast long, quivering shadows across the walls, each one seeming to hold a breath, awaiting Evelyn's choice. The connection between her heartbeat and the estate's pulse had solidified into a bond that was almost physical, tethering her to the very essence of the Holloway legacy. Evelyn's mind was a whirlwind of emotions and revelations. The story of her ancestor, mirrored in the symbols and their dance, had revealed a lineage intertwined with the mystical and the arcane. Her own bloodline indelibly linked to the box she now held. The realization dawned on her that the box was not merely an artifact, but a vessel of her family's history, containing the power to either illuminate or cast into shadow the generations of Holloways who had walked these halls. The air in the chamber shifted, a subtle change that suggested a presence, an awareness within the estate itself. It was as if the very stones and timbers were watching, their centuries-old existence intertwined with the fate of the Holloway line. With the knowledge of her heritage heavy upon her, Evelyn considered the box anew. It was beautifully crafted, its surface etched with intricate designs that seemed to move and change in the flickering light. Symbols that spoke of ancient rites and deep magic. The box pulsed gently in her hands, its rhythm now a comforting presence, a reminder of the choice that lay before her. Her fingers traced the latch that held the box closed, the metal cool and smooth beneath her touch. The estate held its breath, the silence deepening as the moment of decision drew near. The bond between Evelyn and the Holloway estate, cemented in the revelations of the night, pulsed with a life of its own, a shared destiny that was now hers to command. As she stood on the brink of revelation, the light from the box illuminating her path, the shadows at the edge of her vision seemed to dance with anticipation, or perhaps warning. The story of the Holloway estate, a narrative woven through time with threads of light and darkness, love and loss, awaited her decision. With the history of her family and the future of the estate hanging in the balance, Evelyn faced the box, the key to the past, and the door to the future in her hands. The chamber, a witness to centuries of Holloway secrets, stood silent as the story poised on the edge of a new chapter, its pages ready to turn with the simple act of opening the box. The tale of the Holloway estate and Evelyn's place within it remains suspended in this moment. A story of shadows and light, waiting for the courage to explore the depths of its own history. The next steps are yet unwritten. The path ahead shrouded in the mists of possibility, as the legacy of the Holloway line continues to unfold in the silence of the ancient chamber. In the stillness that enveloped the chamber, Evelyn stood transfixed. The revelations of the estate's past and her own heritage weaving a complex tapestry around her. The box, now more than an artifact, felt alive in her hands, its glow a heartbeat that matched her own. The silence of the chamber was pregnant with anticipation, as if the very walls were holding their breath, waiting for Evelyn's choice. The knowledge that the woman in the visions was an ancestor of hers, possibly the original custodian of the box, added layers of depth to her decision. It wasn't just about uncovering the mysteries of the Holloway estate anymore. It was about understanding her place within its history and the role she was destined to play in its future. As Evelyn pondered her next move, a subtle change occurred in the chamber. The air thickened, charged with an electric energy that seemed to emanate from the box itself. The glow from the fissures in the floor intensified, casting long, dancing shadows that played across the ancient symbols etched into the walls. Then, without warning, a new sound pierced the silence. A low, haunting melody that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The melody was both beautiful and terrifying, its notes weaving through the air like threads of silk, drawing Evelyn closer to the box with an almost magnetic pull. The melody resonated with the symbols on the walls, causing them to glow with renewed vigor. The images that had previously revealed the estate's history now shifted, forming new patterns and sequences that suggested a future yet unwritten. The story of the Holloway estate was not just a record of the past. It was a living narrative, continuously evolving with each decision made within its walls. Evelyn, now at the epicenter of this unfolding story, felt a profound sense of responsibility. The box, her ancestral legacy, was the key to unlocking the next chapter of the estate's saga. But with this power came a daunting choice: to open the box and embrace the unknown consequences, or to preserve the status quo, leaving the mysteries of the estate and her own lineage shrouded in shadow. As the haunting melody swirled around her, weaving a spell of indecision and wonder, Evelyn realized that her choice would not just affect her own fate, but the fate of the Holloway estate itself. The story, rich with secrets and laden with the weight of history, pauses yet again on the brink of a momentous decision. Its next twist in the tale suspended in the delicate balance between action and inaction, light and darkness. Evelyn, now enveloped in the profound silence of the chamber, felt the weight of her lineage and the legacy of the Holloway estate pressing upon her. The knowledge revealed by the ancient symbols and the undeniable connection she shared with the woman from the past fortified her resolve, yet deepened her apprehension about the path that lay ahead. The box, pulsating with a light that seemed to embody the very essence of the Holloway mysteries, felt alive in her hands. Its rhythm, now perfectly synchronized with her heartbeat, created a bond that transcended time, linking Evelyn to the generations that had preceded her, each custodian of the box leaving their mark on the estate's storied history. With the revelations of the past swirling around her, Evelyn's mind was a tumult of emotions and thoughts. The clarity with which she had seen her ancestors' actions gave her an insight into the potential power and peril the box represented. It was not merely an artifact, but a conduit, a key to unlocking the latent energies that had been woven into the very fabric of the Holloway estate through centuries of ritual and mystery. As the last vestiges of the symbol's light faded, leaving only the pulsating glow of the box to illuminate the chamber, Evelyn felt a profound sense of isolation and responsibility. The decision before her was monumental, not only for her own fate, but for the legacy of the Holloway name and the secrets the estate harbored. The silence was broken by a subtle shift in the air, a change that hinted at the presence of something unseen, a watcher in the shadows. Evelyn's senses heightened, and she could feel the weight of unseen eyes upon her. The legacy of the Holloway estate manifesting as an almost palpable presence that filled the chamber with an expectancy that was both exhilarating and terrifying. In this moment, suspended between the echoes of the past and the uncertainty of the future, Evelyn understood that her actions would irrevocably alter the course of the Holloway legacy. The box, a Pandora's vessel of sorts, held within it the power to illuminate or to cast into darkness to reveal or to obscure, with the weight of history bearing down upon her. Evelyn stood at the precipice of a decision that could unravel the fabric of reality that the Holloway estate existed within. The story, a tapestry of light, shadow, and unspoken truths, pauses yet again, its threads hanging in the balance, awaiting the hand that will either weave them into a new pattern or leave them in tangled disarray. A narrative perpetually suspended in the twilight of decision and destiny, under the heavy weight of her lineage and the haunting legacy of the Holloway estate. Evelyn stood at the precipice of an irrevocable decision. The box, now seemingly an extension of her own being, pulsed with an intensity that mirrored the racing of her heart. The chamber, steeped in the glow of ancient mysteries, awaited her choice with bated breath, with a resolve born of the intertwining fates of her ancestors and the whispers of the estate that had guided her to this moment. Evelyn gently, almost reverently, lifted the lid of the box. As the hinges creaked, a silence descended, as if the very fabric of reality awaited the unveiling of the box's contents. From within the depths of the box, a light emerged, not harsh or blinding, but soft and ethereal, casting the chamber in a spectral glow. The light coalesced into a form, a ghostly apparition that bore the unmistakable likeness of the woman from the visions, her features marked by an eerie serenity. In a voice that was both a whisper and a wail, the apparition spoke, its words resonating within the very stones of the Holloway estate. "The cycle is complete," it intoned. "The legacy, once bound in shadow, now seeks the light. With this act, you have broken the chains that have held this estate in thrall to its past. But be warned, the light that frees also reveals the darkness that lies within." As the last word echoed into silence, the apparition faded, leaving Evelyn alone in the now tranquil chamber, the box empty, its purpose fulfilled. The oppressive atmosphere that had once permeated the estate seemed to lift, replaced by a sense of peace that had long been absent from its halls. But this peace was not to last, for in the silence that followed, a deeper, more insidious darkness began to stir, a darkness that had lain dormant, biding its time. The estate, freed from one curse, now found itself host to another, more ancient and malevolent force that had been unleashed by the opening of the box. The walls of the chamber began to tremble, the ancient symbols glowing with a malevolent red light, their meanings twisting into sigils of dark power. The air grew cold, and from the shadows, a chorus of whispers rose, not the guiding voices of ancestors, but the maleficent murmurs of something far older, something that had waited for countless generations for its chance to claim the Holloway estate as its own. Evelyn, realizing too late the true cost of her actions, watched in horror as the darkness coalesced into a form that was both void and substance. A swirling mass of shadows that reached out with tendrils of night. The estate, its brief moment of peace shattered, was once again enveloped in a horror that eclipsed all that had come before. The Holloway estate, now a nexus of ancient and unspeakable power, stood as a beacon to the darkness that lay beyond the veil. its halls echoing with the laughter of something that had been given the key to its dominion. Evelyn, her fate intertwined with that of the estate, could only watch as the darkness claimed its new realm. The legacy of the Holloway estate, forever marked by the night, it became host to a horror beyond comprehension. And so, the story of the Holloway estate concludes, not with peace or resolution, but with the chilling realization that some doors, once opened, can never be closed, and some legacies, once unleashed, can never be contained. The estate, its mysteries laid bare, stands as a testament to the thin veil that separates our world from the darkness that lies in wait, ever eager to cross into the light.